They move at a glacial pace. I mean, where do we go to just have dinner?
Wood Ranch.
Glacial pace. I almost didn't make it.
Was it good?
It was actually really good. It was really good. Took forever. We want it right now, right? It's like, listen, just microwave the salad. Give it to me, right? Whatever. Hunger. Let's go. You know, I don't have time for that. In a hurry. Don't you want to be in a hurry for your success? Who wants to be in a hurry for your success? Let me say that again. Who wants to be in a hurry for their success? Of course you do. Yes, you want to be in a hurry. Don't slow down. So now we're gonna direct mail them. We're gonna send them a postcard. We're gonna cold call them. We're gonna text them. And the last thing we're gonna do. How do you text them? Well, do you use a specific service to text them? No. Let's go to the cell phone. Well, I only can do one at a time. So, do it. Listen, go get a bunch of deals. Make $100,000. And then you can get the CRM, and then you can get your LLC set up. I didn't get an LLC set up till I had 2 or 3, 4 deals in the bank. People are like, well, I have to have my LLC and my business card and my shirt. People are nuts. You're watching too much stuff. Just do you realize, I guess what's my point here?
Take action.
Yeah, it's action, which are revenue generating activities, right? It's not activities. Is there a difference between active and productive? Active is saying, get your business card and get your LLCs and gotta get my shirts all done. No, that's activity. That does not make you money. Now, once you cold call and you text and you message them and you send an email, you can send a service like GMass, gmass.com. It's a plugin for Gmail. You can plug it into Google Sheets. You can put 2,000 names in, and bam, you can send one button, and it goes out to 2,000 people. Now, I'm not saying your phone's going to blow up. Now I'm saying I'm going to get 1,000 deals. But you're going to get some responses. GMass, like $30. It's awesome. Now,
G-Max or G-Mass?
Mass. G-Mass. Like Gmail Mass. Mass. GMass.
Be the same thing as the Node.js.
No.
Not really.
Yeah, it's different. It's just a blasting service. Yeah. So GMass. So now that is essentially your marketing. Now, I'm gonna tell you something highly profound. Let me ask you a question. If you and I were gonna compete over the next 90 days of who could generate the most revenue in Corona or wherever in this area. You and I were going to compete, right? Head to head, you and I. Marketing, we had the same budget, the same thing. We're just going to, now it's my experience, 15 years against you. Let's say Scott and I were going to team up. His 4 years, my 15 years are going to compete against you and a brand new. Brand spanking new. Who do you think will win? Anyone?
Experience.
Person that makes the most calls.
Very good. What else?
Who has the best report?
Takes the most action.
Takes most action. Good. Good. All right. Want me to tell you how you can kick our ass all over the board?
No.
He's not happy that I'm here.
Well, time to go.
Are we done, right? They say the lock of the gate at some time.
Yeah, right? We
They said
gotta
that,
go
right?
before
Okay.
you finish that sentence.
Yeah. This is how you can kick. Yes, and experience is irrelevant. Experience is irrelevant. Doesn't matter your background. Doesn't matter where you come from. Doesn't matter your education level. Thank goodness, because I'm not college educated. I went to the Marine Corps when I was 18. So that's the only thing they would accept me. They didn't have an entrance exam, but they did, and I didn't do well, so they made me a grunt and a cook. I can cook. I can't grunt, but I can cook. Anyways, so the bottom line is, what can you do? You can kick everybody. All these guys, that experience doesn't matter. So we got the list, right? We got the direct mail, we got the cold call, we've got the texting, we got the email. The secret secret is frequency. What? Frequency. Not the little things in the air that make sound. Frequency. So what is frequency? How many times that you touch that seller? How many times that your message goes out to that seller in a given period of time? So if I get the list and I mail it once a month, and I cold call them once a month, and I text them once a month, and I email them once a month. Guys, do you realize that there's 50 billion, I don't know the exact number, I'm guessing, 50 billion Instagram posts and Twitter messages and Facebook messages. There's how many 10,000 channels on there, Sirius satellite. Guess what people are fighting for? Your attention. So they get a postcard. What do they do with it? They throw it away. They don't even see it. Why? Because they're inundated with all this other media. It's different today. It's different. 15 years ago when I started, you could send direct mail and the response was ridiculous. 8 to 15%. Your phone would melt. Today, it's different because everybody's fighting for attention. And there's so many different media, right? They've got emails coming in, they got Instagram, Facebook, Twitterized, Periscopeized, Snapchats, all this stuff everywhere. News, TV, all this junk coming on. People are all this media. So your seller is the exact same way, and they're disconnected. Have you ever been in a bad situation? Right? And you just disconnect, you're like, just leave me alone. Just leave me alone. You go in your corner, you don't want to hear from anything, you don't want to hear just, right? Right? I know, I've been there. What do you think they're doing too? They're distressed. So you might send a postcard, you might send an email, you might send a text, you might send a call, you might do whatever. You do it once a month. Here's the ticket. How you can kick everybody's ass. Frequency. Do it every other. How many people have ever been bugged by a collection agency? Remember? Have you ever had a collection? Those credit cards, right? Credit cards, right? They call you once a month?
No.
They call you every day, 5 times a day. Don't they? Right? Am I right? They don't call, wow, how many times should I email, how many times should I call the seller, to try to get a deal? 5 times a day. Until you get a hold of them. How many times do you send a mail? I don't know, every day. Send them every day. Collection companies do. How many times do you text them? Every day, twice a day, 3 times a day. What's it called?
Frequency.
Frequency. Collection companies do it. Media. Look at CNN, Fox News, they just blast out garbage media all day, every day, all day long. Do they stop and pause and go, I think he's got too much. I don't want to bug him. I don't want to be too intrusive. Really? I do. I want to be intrusive. I want to be all up in their business. Right? Because when they're ready to sell and they kind of wake up and then guess what? They're going to be like, who is this dude that just keeps on? What? I'm going to call him back. So how many people want to get a deal? How many people want to blow up? How many people want to crush it? You got to get laser focused. You got to get massively obsessed. And you have to take these micro actions consistently with massive amounts of frequency. Because they don't hear you. They don't see you. They don't see your postcard. They don't get your one little call once a month. They don't get your one little text that came here every time. It doesn't happen. Bug the living crap out of them until they sell you their house. Now, if you do that, what's going to happen? Who's going to get deals? They're going to be one mad seller because you're all going to be hitting them at the same time. They're going to get 50 million texts a day, but who cares, right? You'll get deals. You'll get it done. And you'll crush it. That, my friends, is called beast mode. You know what beast mode is?
Great CRM.
Is it?
Sure is.
I don't know. I don't know anything about CRMs. I just know it's an attitude. A beast mode's an attitude. Beast mode, when you're afraid, in beast mode, you have confidence. When you don't think you can do it, you flip the switch and you go to beast mode and you can make it happen. When you don't think you have time, you flip the switch and you go into beast mode, you just have time, you make time. It's gonna happen no matter what. When you're kind of shaking, going, I don't know if I should talk to the seller, and you start thinking in your own head and going, I don't know if I can do it, or what if I say the wrong thing? What if I mess up? What if I... In beast mode, you can do it. So now, what's the mission with all this frequency? The mission is to set an appointment. Now, at the appointment, you get in front of a seller. And you cannot screw up a motivated seller. I don't care how new you are, how brand new you are, I don't care what you say, you cannot screw up a motivated seller. Isn't that liberating? If they're truly motivated and they want to sell, let's put it this way. I've walked into a house before, brand spanking new, not knowing, scared. What if I say the wrong thing? And I go, I'll give you $30,000. And he goes, you sure you want to do that? I was like, yeah. And he goes, I don't know if you want to do that. Maybe you should do 25. He actually negotiated me down. I was like, okay, let's do 25. He negotiated me down. And I got the deal. You can't screw up. Just get in front of people. So now, you take these micro actions with massive frequency, and your mission is to book an appointment, the mission's to get in front of them, and then you give them a physical written offer. A physical written offer. See, so many people go in, they go into a house, they talk to a seller, and they're afraid to make an offer. What precludes a check? Well, you have to get a check. Before that's escrow, before you can open escrow, you have to have a signed contract. It's called paper on the street. The more paper you get on the street, the more opportunity you have to get the signed contract that will eventually go in escrow, that you can find a buyer, and in this market it's easy to find a buyer, and you can turn around and you can sell the house. And you can get that check, and you can get the $27,000 twice. And you can get the $12,000, and you can get the first deal, and you can get that. And now what happens is, now you have a team of people, and now what's the team of people doing? Now you get the team of people in beast mode. Now you get a team of people in beast mode that's going, we're doing $1.5 million in this quarter or else. Now, they hit $1.5 million, are they all hitting fat paychecks? How's he doing?
Wonderful.
Yeah, he's crushing. He has to buy a Tesla. Right? He's crushing. Now, is he taking a lot of the risk? Who's spending the marketing money? He is. Right? But they got a great opportunity. It's a win-win situation all the way around. It's win-win all the way around. So the bottom line is you get 100% clear. You get massively obsessed. You take the micro actions. Those micro actions are going to lead to massive amounts of frequency. All day, every day, just going to nail until they submit to sell to you. You're going to book appointments with them. You're going to write written offers. Well, how much do you write a written offer for? Low. Lower than everything else. Just do 60%, 50, 60% of Zillow and you'll be fine. Anybody know what Zillow is? You sure? Do you know how to calculate 60% of? That's it. That's what you offer. 60% of Zillow. If you offer 60% of Zillow and you're pumping contracts out, you're going to bump into a seller, and the number's typically 1 in 25. 1 in 25 actual physical written offers equate a contract. Could you do better? Could you? You could. You might get 2 out of 25, 3 out of 25. Right? You might have great karma. You may, whatever, I don't know. It might be 3, whatever. I've seen people go out and they crush it. I've seen people go out and do 49 written offers, and they go, it doesn't work. I got 49 written offers. So listen, just keep going. Keep pressing forward. There's something about life that just pushes us to the max. And it wants to test how bad you want it. And if you keep pushing hard, you'll break through the other side, and the floodgates will open. Who wants the floodgates? Floodgates will open for you. So he turned around, he got the 48 offers. The next 3 offers, he got 3 contracts back to back to back. He goes, man, I'm sorry, man. I'm telling you. So if the equation is 1 in 25, now, what makes a difference? How do you get 2 in 25? Education. Education. You come to events like this. You go to education. You go to Extreme Freedom, and you learn processes, and you learn from someone like Scott Oates who's going to speak, and some other people are going to speak. You go to other events. You go to masterminds. You go to educate. You watch videos until you're blue in the face. You listen to podcasts. You read books. I don't watch TV. I listen to books. I don't listen to music in the car. My kids hate it. I listen to podcasts, I listen to audiobooks, and I educate myself. I'm constantly educating myself because there is a bunch that I don't know. 15 months ago, I wanted to get in the apartment space. I didn't know about it. I obsessed about it. I got exactly what I want. I got obsessed about it. I read books about it. I listened to podcasts about it. I talked to people about it. I went to masterminds. I paid to masterminds. I went to masterminds. I talked to people. I networked with people. I put the intention out there. 15 months later, we own close to $40 million with an apartment close to 1,000 units. 15 months. Anything can happen, man. Set the intention. Make it rain, man. Make it rain. It's beast mode. Ain't got time for that. Ain't got no time for that. Right? We're on a mission. You on a mission?
Yes.
You on a mission? Yeah. On a mission. Do you want to be on a mission? Go out there and crush it. There's not one excuse that you can give me of why you can't do this. You have what it takes. There's different personalities. There's analytical people. I have to have everything. I have to know specifically. Listen, get yourself out of the way. No, you don't. Just do it. Just do it. You'll get it. Learn it. Make it happen. All right, questions? Yes, sir.
I know one of your answers about you explained that if you get a second purchase agreement, try to convert it to an assignment so that way the buyer doesn't know exactly what you're making. What's the verbiage that you put in that contract for asking them to do it?
All you have to do is, seller has the right to convert to an assignment agreement. That's it.
So you use like a regular purchase contract, like the same that you would use with the seller, and then you just write that in like a.
Well, we have a buyer's contract that specifically we use. What do you guys do for contracts?
We have 2 different contracts. So our seller's contract is, let's say our company name and or assigns, and then the buyer's contract is basically a assignment of agreement. So we have 2 different contracts.
Now, is there a special like California specific contract in there?
No, ours is completely different. The only thing I will mention, when he mentioned marketing to pre-foreclosures, be very careful with that in California.
Because the
If
equity
you-
thing, right?
Yeah, if you get one of those under contract, at the time of the contract signing, the equity purchase agreement has to be signed. That will give the seller
3 days.
3 days,
Yeah.
I believe, to basically back out of the deal if they want to. But if something happens later, even after you close the deal, now number one, I am not an attorney. make that clear. If that happens later, after you close the deal, you can still be in trouble, whether it's a year, 2 years down the road. If the seller feels like they were swindled later, they regret their sale, they can come back, and you guys could actually get in a lot of trouble for not using that agreement. So,
Yeah, so use the agreement, just make sure you're legal, make sure you build rapport, and make sure you do the right thing. If you always do the right thing and you have a sincere interest, you want to help people out and do the right thing. Now, I've come across grandmothers that I have way better negotiation skills than they do, and I can negotiate all their equity out of their house, but I don't. Why? Because I'm going to have to answer to God one day, and I don't want to answer to that, number one. And number two, it's not the right thing to do. If you always do the right thing, you know in your gut. Go ahead.
When you're building rapport, talking on the phone with potential seller, do you start talking a little bit about price? And you work that in there, you throwing out a number before you make an appointment to see if it's even, see if they're distressed enough or motivated enough? Or every time you got someone's willing to sit down, you just zip out there?
Yeah, for people that are brand spanking new, you're absolutely brand new, you want to be as in front of many people as absolutely human possible. Do you want to? Because you can get a referral, you might find a vacant house next door, you might find a for sale by owner. So your mission is not to determine price, is your mission, or try to do a soft pass, they call it. Your mission is to book an appointment.
And if you are experienced?
that's what I was gonna say. With you,
Yeah.
The fact that you're here in town with me and you also go to LA, I wouldn't go on every one of them,
Right.
knowing your experience level. I would say you probably should talk price a little bit and see if it's
Yeah.
worth that
That's-
drive.
yeah, that's-
So,
Right. Go ahead.
Are you using the FOIA to get some information, and how's that working out?
FOIA?
Freedom of Information Act.
Yes.
No, I'm not using that.
You are.
We're skip tracing, but we're not using it.
Okay.
partially.
Okay.
So,
How's that working out?
it works, but the amount of time, so the way I weigh things I do in my business is how much time does it actually take? What's the fight? I mean, I can have my attorney send letters all day long saying, hey, this Freedom of Information Act, give me the data. But at a certain point, we look at it and say, is it really worth the fight on a lot of the stuff? We get some of it, but honestly, we're not doing much of it at all. We probably, come 6 months, we probably won't be doing it. It's just not worth it. California is a whole different animal when you look at some of this stuff.
Talking about like utilities, is that the FOIA on the utilities?
Yeah,
Those
it
ones,
can
right?
it can
Yeah.
apply to utilities. Yeah, it just depends on whether it's privately owned, publicly owned.
Right.
So you have to look at things like that as well.
That's a shiny object I wouldn't chase, right? I go after the ones that you know you can get done. Otherwise, you're going to go down a rabbit hole in the FOIA rabbit hole in your phone. So,
I have two questions, not related, but the first is, you talked about praying and reading the Bible. Can you talk a little bit about the role of faith as faith in getting past the objection, getting past that downtime, like, hey, you know, this isn't working for me, like in the beginning maybe. And the second question is, I'm actually a part of Scott U's Wholesale Elite Mastermind, and he didn't ask me to talk about it, but it's been something that's really helped me kind of focus my mind on what I need to do. So if you guys are looking, I would look into that. But one of the things that he told me is, I'm throwing my net too wide. I'm everything. I got this source, I got this, I got that. I got all these things that I'm trying to put things into. Today we're talking about actually freedom too, but would you say that my frequency, should I send a list to, or should I put a smaller list and send more frequent? Because I've been putting lists of 3,000, 4,000, 5,000 people and sending.
I would get highly distressed
Mhm.
and then be highly frequent.
But would you say, because I that's the list I've been pulling is the highly distressed. But like I said, I'll pull a list of 5,000 people, get a skip trace and call, but I'm not hitting as frequent because I'm by myself and I'm seeing things out, and obviously money is an issue. So speak a little bit, if you could.
Yeah, if money's an issue, then you can tighten up that list. Tighten up specific areas that you want to target. So you can take that big list and go into a geographic area and do just a zip code or do just a neighborhood and get really tight on that list and then be more frequent with that list. You know what I mean? Frequency always increases response, right? If you do broader, you know what I mean? I'm sure he's talking about the more broader you go, the more difficult it is.
and then the faith also.
The faith is the only reason I'm here, right? Number one. I mean, I attribute that 100% to my success. So without God in my life, I wouldn't be here today, and any success I have, I wouldn't have it. Number one. Number two is that when you're going through struggles and tough times, if you know that anything that happens to you is for you, and you know that God's working in your favor, then you'll trust the process and you'll understand and you'll keep taking the actions at hand, moving forward, having faith. Faith is knowing you're going to achieve it. You will achieve it. You will be successful. You will be a monster. You will go out there and crush it. You're going to go out and make it happen. You will be amazing, right? Right? Keep that faith. Know it 100%. It will happen no matter what. You know, I know it. I can see it in you. You're going to make it happen. So the difference is between actually where you are and making it happen, keeping that faith string tight and keep moving forward and stepping into your faith with fear, doing things that make you uncomfortable, that builds your faith. And as you do that, you'll continue to achieve more incredible things. I didn't know about apartments. I had to move on. I had to step into faith with fear.
So, you hear a lot of talk about California being a horrible place to do business because everybody hates anybody that's gonna make money. Best place to get an assignment contract. Like, do I Google it? Do I go to a realtor? Do I ask them for one?
Lindsay, do you want to put the assignment contract in the meetup group? We'll get ours in there tomorrow.
So Mr. Scott Oots is going to do it for you. Thank you very much.
And I know that you guys do joint ventures also, through stuff I've listened through for you. If I bring a deal to you for a joint venture, obviously we'll use your joint venture contract.
Yeah, in the meetup group, there's a link to submit JV deals to us. We're starting to get way too many just literally thrown our way, so we wanted to systemize it. So we have a Podio web form. You can go submit the information on there, and then we'll look at it and we'll reach out to you. So, but you can use that same contract, and then we just have a separate JV agreement we throw through, and we can do it two ways. Either if you haven't locked it up, but it's a decent deal, we look at it. If we agree, we'll actually go with you to the appointment, let you sit there while we lock it up so you can actually see how it's done. That one we do take a larger percentage just because I'm taking my team out of the office, going out, or we can do our standard JV agreement where we walk you through it, we take the disposition side for you and take care of it.
Which that's huge because now they're going to go out with you. You get to see how they negotiate, do the whole thing. I would do 3 or 4 of those.
And I love that, and thank you for, I didn't know you were willing to do that, I love that. I mean, just the experience that ride along, or so to speak, would bring would just be.
We just can't do it with everyone. We have to look at it first and say, is this potentially a deal based on the info you provide us?
Right.
And then at that point, most likely one of them will hop on the phone with you and the seller, kind of determine where we are with things, and then if it all looks good, then we'll get the paper. So.
Whoa, yeah. Okay, go ahead back there, and then we'll go these two guys.
Scott, just curious, what's the percentage you guys close right there when you go to the house?
It depends on who it is. I mean, if Mike there goes to the house, typically he's only going to an appointment if he's going to get the paper. So if we looked at his rate, it's probably absolutely insane. As we get newer people going, so for instance, Aaron just stepped into the role. We're literally shoving him in front of as many people as we can because we need him to get shut down. We need him to try. He spent 2 hours today.
I was driving just one way, and then I spent 2.5 hours at the appointment, and then driving back.
So 2.5 hours sitting in front of a seller. He says a seller literally told him no an hour and a half inside. An hour and a half into the appointment, the seller told him no. Did you get the paper?
Yes.
It's signed, done.
He's like, I'm not driving 2 hours back with no paper.
That is the thing that drove me nuts at first. Because from where I am in Corona, LA is so far, it's not fun to drive back out.
He just said the cat signed.
The what?
The cat signed it done.
I don't care, I didn't hear that.
Let the cat hold it hostage. All right, go ahead, man.
I'm starting to get some deals under contract.
Boom!
I'm virtually wholesaling. I'm from Indianapolis originally. There's a lot of cash buyers there.
Sweet.
That's why it shows that city.
Great market.
Yep.
Right, thank you. And so now that they're under contract, now it's time to move on via a dispo process. how long into the dispo process, you know, you blast them out, Craigslist, Facebook, etc. You start freaking out, like, do I really have a deal here? Do I not have enough buyers? My buyers list is that 3 days, 5 days, 2 weeks, and
That-
so you like want to go back to sell and renegotiate.
Those deals are in Indy.
You're in India.
Write down a name. Clay Manship with Mainstay Property Group. Tell him you know me, you're in my meetup. If they're
Mainstay
not
Property Group?
moving, Mainstay Property Group. Tell him you know me. Submit one of the deals over to him and say, hey, this isn't moving. Let him analyze it and see if it is a deal. Maybe you missed something. So every market's a little bit different, but those guys do a ton of deals. He potentially would be a buyer for you as well if it's a killer deal. But most likely, I mean, if you're getting to the point where you got the deal out and it's not moving, especially in this market, like Sean said earlier, there's something you missed. And with virtual, that's the thing that sucks a little bit is, you know, take LA for instance. You go to LA and you may have a house that is a killer deal on one street. But the problem is you use a comp from the street behind it, which is basically a completely different area according to LA, right? So you could have missed something in your analysis that you just don't know because you're not there. So you've got to utilize those boots on the ground a little bit. I would almost go into some of those Facebook groups out there and ask, hey, who's in Indy? Start kind of vetting those people a little bit and just see who's potentially someone good for you, because they may be able to help you with some of that stuff.
Yeah, more than likely, it's eyeballs. You're not getting enough people looking at it. More people you get to look at it, the more opportunity you're gonna have. So,
I'll look at it.
there you go. Over here.
Scott, this question is for you. I know that you're primarily out here in California market. Myself and my team are out here as well, mostly focused on the Empire. What I want to talk about is the nitty-gritty about the climate. What we're encountering is that we're coming across a lot of sellers that claim to be motivated, but they're looking for almost retail prices. And there's been a couple times where literally we've been outbid, or they decided to go over to a realtor and list, even though at the end of the day, that realtor number after the closing costs and commissions would have been right back where we were in the first place. How are you guys getting around that?
That's perfect. Mike, you want to take this one?
Come on, Mike. When a seller wants retail, what do?
Talk to them. I mean, we had it today. So when somebody wants retail, you're just gonna talk to them and let them answer questions. So you want this amount. Tell me how you got to that amount. Okay, great. So did you factor this in? Didn't? Okay, now where are we at? And you have to ask the same question about 5 different ways before they start answering it with real numbers. And at the end of the day, you could talk them down to what's actually real, and they'll still disagree even though they did the calculations and they came up with a real number. They'll still say, well, I want $150,000 more. And at that point, it's no longer a deal, right? Because if you're gonna spend, say, another 2 to 3, 4 hours on that deal, I'm going to get what is actually a deal, and I'm locking that one up. So at some point, you just have to realize that they're out of their mind and they're not gonna sell to you. Now, what also could happen is they could go over all those numbers, realize that they were incorrect, and actually wanna sell to you. But you can't argue with them and say, well, these are the real numbers. You have to let them say it for themselves. And then see what you get out of it.
It's negotiating. You got. I mean, that's part of negotiating. Every seller wants retail just like you do. If you're gonna sell your car, you will blue book it, Zillow it, and then you turn around, you put it on Craigslist. People will call, and you'd want retail for your car, wouldn't you? Right? Unless you found out that there was rust underneath, that there was 200,000 miles on the car, and then whatever. You know what I mean? If there was some other factor that was unknown. Now, if someone brought that factor to your forefront of your mind, and you looked at it and you go, well, maybe he's right. Maybe it's not worth because of this, and this. Now you might change your opinion on your price and then reduce. So it's a logical way of coming down to a price, and that's exactly what these guys are doing. They're actually sitting there going, hey, have you thought about this? Well, what about this? How much do you think that would cost? How much do you think this would cost? And what happens is now they're calculating a number, and they're coming to the conclusion that maybe the Zillow number really isn't the number I should really ask, but I really want to sell. Maybe I should go for this. And I really like this guy. He didn't offend me. He didn't make me feel wrong. He built rapport with me. He asked about my grandkids, and he likes my cat. So, you know what I mean? So maybe, maybe he's right, and he seems like a straight up and honest guy, and he did make some common sense. So yeah, maybe I'll sell to him.
And I also know that like there's a lot of success in like the follow up. You know, you listed with a realtor. I found that out going on realtor.com. I saw the property was listed way too high.
Yeah.
It doesn't make any type of sense.
That's what I was going to say to you. So I feel like Mike's being very nice tonight. So when I look at that and say, if you're consistently seeing these houses sell for, and the net comes to be potentially less than your offer would have been, you probably did a bad job talking about the difference between an investor and a realtor and the advantages of going with somebody like you. So try to adjust that approach a little bit and make sure you really know how the realtor numbers work. You can question them and say, hey, ask that realtor for a net sheet. So, but most likely what that realtor's doing, because there's a lot of them out there. If anyone's realtors, I apologize, I'm not talking trash, I just want to be honest. A lot of realtors are trying so hard to get that 6-month listing agreement signed, their goal is literally just to get it signed at any cost. And if they know damn well that house is not going to sell over $500,000, but you want $575,000, they're going to sign it at $575,000 because they're going to get it on the market. And the next thing that's going to happen is they're going to say 2 weeks in, hey, we got to drop the price. Guess what? That doesn't mean you can just get out of the listing agreement. You're still in this agreement. So now you got to drop it. Then you drop it again, and you drop it again. And at that time, that seller's going, oh shit, I should have sold to this investor that came by. Now I see Casey shaking his head over there because he knows it's true. Casey's a realtor. He's one of the honest ones when it comes to this. But it's true, right? They will literally get that listing agreement signed, and it doesn't matter what they have to do or what they have to promise you. We will guarantee that price. That realtor is not going to guarantee that price. That realtor is going to get that agreement signed, and no matter what it takes. Then they're going to go lower than your offer, and what do? Because now the seller calls you and says, hey, I want to sell to you. By the way, I'm in an agreement with a realtor. You're still going to have to pay those commissions by signing that paper. You promised that. So no matter what happens, you got to pay it. So now you can take my offer, but you're going to have to pay the realtor commissions as well. So now you're even lower. And the seller's like, oh, crap. So if you try to do a little better job up front educating, now we don't want to talk trash about anybody in front of the seller. You're educating. Educate the difference between going with an investor and going with a realtor. Why do people go with us? Because they want something done fast. They can be in foreclosure. They can have a situation where something's happening that they need to move this house quickly. A realtor is going to take a lot longer to do something in most cases. So for us, educate them on why they should go with you as an investor versus a realtor. Now they still may choose to go the other route. Keep your follow-up game going. But ultimately, educate, educate, educate. That's your job. You are supposed to go into that house or be on the phone and be the person that knows what you're doing. You're the subject matter expert. They called you for a reason. If they already knew what to do and knew everything about real estate, they probably would not be calling you. So adjust your approach, see what you can do differently.